You spend so much of your life trying to make everyone happy. Yet the more you please others, the more you lose yourself. You nod when you want to say no. You smile when your soul aches, and somewhere along the way, you forget who you really are. But what if trying to be liked is exactly what keeps you from peace? Buddhism teaches a haunting truth. The harder you cling to approval, the further you drift from your true nature. So, how do you stay strong in every situation without breaking? How do you stop pleasing and finally find yourself? Before we begin, subscribe to Deep Wisdom, where every video is a doorway to calm, clarity, and timeless Buddhist insight you won't find anywhere else. And stay till the end. There's a powerful bonus lesson that reveals the one moment your strength silently awakens. Because once you understand this, you'll never have to lose yourself again to be loved. Let's begin. 1. Stop chasing approval. It's a mirage. What if every compliment you ever chased was just a test from the universe to see if you could stay centered without it? We spend our lives trying to earn smiles, approval, and acceptance. Yet, in the quiet corners of our hearts, we know the truth. No matter how many people applaud us, their praise never fills the emptiness within. Like chasing the wind, it slips through our fingers, leaving us thirstier than before. In Buddhist philosophy, attachment to praise is a subtle form of suffering. The Buddha taught that craving, whether for possessions, people, or recognition, creates restlessness in the mind. When we live for approval, we surrender our peace to the unpredictable moods of the world. One moment they cheer, the next they turn away. And so, we dance to the rhythm of others' opinions, forgetting the still rhythm of our own heartbeat. Those who seek the crowd's applause lose the sound of their own heartbeat. Think about that. The louder the world's noise becomes, the fainter your inner voice grows. The voice that once guided you, comforted you, whispered what truly mattered, buried under the weight of constant comparison. The truth is, approval is like salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine standing in a vast desert. The sun above is fierce and your lips are dry. You hear distant voices calling your name, praise, validation, attention. Each voice echoes, then fades, leaving behind a silence so deep that only your breath remains. In that silence, there is freedom. You begin to realize that you were never lost. You were simply looking in the wrong direction. The Buddha often spoke of the middle path, a state where one is neither proud in praise nor broken in blame. It is here that real peace is born. When you stop chasing what others think of you, you start hearing what your soul has been whispering all along. You become grounded, clear, and unshakable. Ask yourself gently, what am I really seeking when I try to please others? Who would I be without the need to be liked? Do I feel peaceful or anxious when I seek validation? The moment you stop performing for the world, the real you finally steps onto the stage. This is not arrogance, it is awakening. Because when you stop chasing approval, you don't lose the world, you find yourself. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally found myself." 2. The disease of pleasing and its cure. Can kindness become a form of self-betrayal? Many of us wear the mask of the peacemaker. We smile when our hearts ache. We say yes when our soul whispers no. We confuse approval with love and acceptance with peace. But slowly, we begin to dissolve, piece by piece, until we no longer recognize the person who once stood strong inside us. The Buddha taught that attachment, even to being seen as good, leads to suffering. It is a subtle craving, the desire to be liked, to be accepted, to never disappoint. Yet in this endless pursuit, we forget the one person we are truly meant to honor, ourselves. To please everyone is to abandon yourself in fragments. These words are not a condemnation of kindness, but a call for balance. Imagine holding a candle in your hand. Its flame glows steady, calm. Each time you say yes against your truth, a gust of wind flickers that flame. Each time you choose peace for others at the cost of your own, the light grows dimmer. Until one day, you find yourself standing in the dark, not because the world took your light, but because you gave it away, trying to illuminate everyone else's path. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, compassion begins with oneself. A mind that is drained cannot offer peace. A heart that is empty cannot truly give love. The disease of pleasing is not healed by becoming cold or distant. It is healed by awareness, by pausing before the automatic yes and asking, is this truth or guilt speaking through me? Picture this. You are the candle. Your flame is sacred. When you protect it with mindful boundaries, it grows stronger, brighter, warmer. Saying no is not rejection. It is respect. It is choosing to love yourself enough to preserve the energy that sustains your kindness. Ask yourself gently, when did I last say yes just to avoid guilt? What boundary could protect my peace today? What if saying no was an act of compassion toward myself? The Buddha once said that peace does not come from pleasing all beings, but from understanding one's own heart. So let your kindness flow, not as a river that floods and drowns, but as rain that nourishes where it is truly needed. When you stop betraying yourself to please others, you don't lose love. You finally experience it in its purest, most freeing form. The weight of opinions, let them fall. Why do we give so much power to the minds of those who barely know our soul? Since childhood, we are taught to listen, to obey, to adapt. And somewhere along the way, we begin to mistake others' voices for our own truth. Each judgment, each opinion becomes a thread that weaves into our identity until the robe of who we are is no longer ours to wear. The Buddha once said that clinging is the root of suffering, and opinions are just another form of clinging, to be liked, to be right, to be seen. Yet, peace does not bloom in the soil of comparison. It grows only in the stillness of inner knowing. You do not live in their mind. Stop letting their mind live in you. These words are a quiet revolution. Every time you hold on to someone's opinion, you hand them the keys to your inner temple. You allow their fleeting thoughts to decide your worth. But remember, opinions change like the wind. What they admire today, they may condemn tomorrow. Do not let such unstable weather dictate your inner climate. You are like the sky, vast, unchanging, infinite. The opinions of others are merely clouds, drifting, forming, dissolving. Some will bring rain, some thunder, some may even darken your world for a while. But none of them are you. Beyond the clouds, the sky remains untouched, always whole, always free. Sit in silence for a moment. Breathe. Imagine each opinion that ever hurt you, every word, every judgment, every misunderstanding, drifting across the sky of your awareness. Watch them pass without grasping, without fighting. Notice how, in their absence, the space grows clear, blue, boundless. You begin to realize that you were never broken, only hidden behind the weight of voices that were never yours to carry. Ask yourself gently, whose opinion still controls my peace? Is it worth the cost of my freedom? Can I let this cloud pass without reacting? Freedom begins not when the world stops judging you, but when you stop believing every judgment. The Buddha taught that true strength is calmness in the storm, to stay rooted in your essence, no matter how loud the winds become. When you stop letting every voice enter your heart, you finally hear your own. And that sound, quiet, steady, true, is the beginning of liberation. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally found myself." 4. The strength of stillness. What if your greatest strength isn't to fight, but to stay rooted when storms come? We are taught to struggle, to defend, to react. Yet, the more we resist, the more exhausted we become. Life will always bring winds that shake our branches, loss, rejection, uncertainty. But the Buddha taught that peace is not found in controlling the wind. It is found in mastering our response to it. True strength is not noise. It is not defiance. It is stillness, the silent, unshakable calm that remains when everything else trembles. The tree does not curse the wind. It simply deepens its roots. Imagine this for a moment. When the storm arrives, the tree does not argue with the rain. It bends, it listens, it endures. It allows the chaos to pass through, not around it. Its branches may sway, its leaves may scatter, but its essence, its rootedness, remains untouched. In the same way, your power lies not in resistance, but in presence. To stand quietly in your truth, even when the world misunderstands you, is the highest form of strength. Close your eyes and feel your spine as a rooted trunk, your breath as the gentle wind. Notice how the breath moves, sometimes soft, sometimes strong, yet the trunk remains centered. This is the practice of stillness. It is not escape. It is deep participation with life. When you stop running from discomfort, it transforms. When you stop reacting to every gust, you begin to sense the still rhythm of your own being, calm, vast, unbreakable. We often think power comes from action, from proving or asserting. But stillness is the hidden force behind all clarity. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, not in battle, but in silence. The world tried to distract him, fear, temptation, doubt, yet he did not move. In that stillness, awakening was born. Ask yourself gently, what storms am I currently facing? How can I root deeper instead of resisting? What if stillness itself is power? There is a strength that no conflict can touch, the strength of stillness. It is the moment you stop reacting and start observing. The moment you realize the storm was never your enemy, it was your teacher. When you become the tree, patient, steady, awake, you discover that nothing can truly uproot you. The wind may roar, but peace remains your ground. 5. The peace hidden in disapproval. Could rejection be your teacher in disguise? We often see disapproval as a wound, something to fear, something that lessens our worth. But from the lens of Buddhist wisdom, rejection is not an enemy. It is a silent invitation to return home to yourself. Every time someone turns away, you are given the chance to turn inward, to see that the peace you were chasing in their acceptance was always resting quietly within your own heart. Every time someone rejects you, life redirects you back to yourself. Reflect on that. How many times have you begged for a door to open, only to later realize it was never meant for you? The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, and one of the deepest attachments we hold is to being understood, approved of, and loved on someone else's terms. But when life closes a door, it is not punishment, it is redirection. It is a mirror turning you inward, saying, "Here, look, This is where love truly begins. Imagine standing before that mirror. Every rejection, every criticism, every misunderstanding, all reflecting back not your failure, but your own light. You start to see how much energy you once gave to pleasing others, how deeply you tied your peace to their approval. And as you look closer, you begin to recognize something profound. Their disapproval cannot touch your essence. The mirror doesn't distort your light. It simply reveals where you forgot to see it. In Buddhism, this moment of realization is liberation, the end of dependence on external validation. The Buddha faced countless critics, yet never wavered. He did not seek to convince the world, he sought to understand it. That is the essence of inner peace. To see through the illusions of praise and blame, and to walk your path with quiet confidence. Ask yourself gently, what did rejection teach me that acceptance never could? Have I mistaken approval for love? How does it feel to honor myself even when misunderstood? The truth is, disapproval cannot harm you when you no longer need it to define you. When you stop seeing rejection as failure and begin to see it as guidance, you awaken a rare kind of peace, the peace of self-trust. And in that stillness, something beautiful happens. You no longer chase belonging, you become it. The world may misunderstand your journey, but your soul finally understands itself. 6. When you stop explaining, you start healing. Why do we keep explaining ourselves to people committed to misunderstanding us? There is a quiet exhaustion that comes from always needing to be seen correctly, to be understood, to justify who we are. Yet, the Buddha taught that right speech is not about saying everything. It is about knowing when silence carries more truth than words. Some people do not listen to understand, they listen to respond. And in trying to explain ourselves to them, we hand over our peace, piece by piece, until there is none left. Silence is not weakness, it is the language of those who have made peace with themselves. This is not the silence of avoidance, it is the silence of wisdom. Imagine a calm river flowing through a rocky path. The rocks try to block its way, but the river never argues. It does not stop to explain its right to move forward. It simply flows around them, graceful, unbothered, free. That is what peace looks like. Not proving, not convincing, just continuing. Breathe deeply for a moment. Imagine words rising to your lips, then dissolving into quiet light. The urge to defend yourself fades, replaced by a gentle awareness. Your peace is louder than explanation. You begin to realize that understanding is not always the goal. Peace is. The Buddha himself was misunderstood by many, yet he never argued. He knew that truth does not need an audience, it only needs presence. In our desire to be understood, we often forget that silence is a boundary too, a sacred space that protects our energy from being drained by those who do not wish to see. When you stop explaining, you stop giving your power away. You create space for healing, for acceptance, for the quiet realization that you don't need to prove your worth to anyone. Ask yourself gently, who am I constantly trying to explain myself to? What if silence can protect my energy more than words ever could? How would my life change if I stopped needing to be understood? The truth is, peace begins when explanation ends. You do not need to convince others to validate your path. You only need to walk it with awareness. Like the river that flows around the stones, let your stillness be your strength. Because when you stop explaining yourself to the world, you finally begin to listen. And in that sacred listening, you start to heal. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally found myself." The power of being misunderstood. What if being misunderstood is not a punishment, but a passage to higher peace? We spend so much of our lives trying to be seen clearly, trying to make others understand the purity of our intentions. Yet the Buddha taught that not everyone can perceive the same truth at the same level of awareness. When you walk a path of consciousness, there will be moments when your steps make no sense to those still standing at the base. This is not rejection. It is separation by vibration, a quiet sign that you are evolving beyond the need for validation. When others cannot see your truth, it means you are walking beyond their vision. These words remind us that misunderstanding is not failure, but freedom. Like a mountain rising into the clouds, your truth may not be visible to those who stand below. But the mountain does not kneel to show its height. It simply stands, silent, steady, and unmoved. True peace comes when you stop descending to explain your altitude to those who have not climbed with you. Close your eyes and visualize yourself on a high peak. The fog below hides you from sight. Voices call out, questioning, doubting, misunderstanding who you are. Yet you remain still, vast and free. You realize that their confusion cannot touch your clarity. The wind moves, the fog shifts, but the mountain remains. This is the nature of inner strength, to be unmoved by misunderstanding, to trust that truth will reveal itself in time without your defense. In Buddhism, the wise do not argue truth, they embody it. The Buddha faced ridicule and disbelief, yet he never demanded recognition. His peace was proof enough. When you no longer need to be understood, your energy returns to you. You stop scattering yourself in explanations and begin to live from your center, calm, grounded, radiant. Ask yourself gently, why do I fear being misunderstood? Can I let others' confusion exist without correcting it? What kind of peace lives beyond the need to be seen clearly? The power of being misunderstood lies in this. It frees you from performance. It releases you from the endless effort to be accepted. When you no longer seek to fit the world's perception, you rise above it. Like the mountain veiled in clouds, unseen yet complete, you find serenity not in being recognized, but in simply being. 8. The turning point, choosing peace over performance. When does trying become suffering? We live in a world that rewards performance. The louder we play, the more we're seen. Yet deep down, there comes a quiet ache, a whisper that says, I am tired of pretending. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we resist our natural state, when we cling to appearances instead of truth. Each time we perform to please others, we drift a little further from the peace that only authenticity can bring. The day you stop performing, life begins to breathe through you. Imagine that for a moment. Like a flute, your being was meant to channel something divine, peace, creativity, compassion. But when you try too hard to control the sound, the melody becomes forced, hollow. Only when you stop pushing does the real music flow, effortless, honest, and full of life. In the same way, when you let go of who you think you should be, your true rhythm emerges naturally, without striving. Close your eyes and take a slow breath. Imagine exhaling all the masks you've worn, the one that smiles to please, the one that agrees to belong, the one that hides its pain to appear strong. With each breath, the air becomes lighter. The masks fall away like autumn leaves, and beneath them, you feel something pure and steady, your original self, unburdened and whole. This is what it means to choose peace over performance. The Buddha once sat silently as others argued about his teachings. When asked why he didn't defend himself, he smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" He understood that peace is found not in control, but in surrender, not in trying to be understood, but in being. Ask yourself gently, what roles do I play to gain approval? How would it feel to just be instead of performing? What could life sound like if I stopped forcing it? The turning point of your journey comes when you realize that your worth was never in the performance. It was in the presence. When you stop trying to prove, you begin to live. You become the flute, open, light, flowing with the melody of existence itself. The performance ends, but the music of life truly begins. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally found myself." 9. Remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Beneath all the labels, who are you really? From the moment we are born, the world begins to name us, shape us, define us. You are told who to be, how to behave, what to achieve, and slowly, the quiet truth of your being gets buried under layers of expectation. You start living to meet others' visions, forgetting that peace has always lived beneath the noise. The Buddha taught that enlightenment is not something you gain. It is the unveiling of what was never lost. You are not becoming yourself. You are returning to yourself. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of stone. With each strike of the chisel, a hidden form begins to appear, not created, but revealed. In the same way, life carves away all that is false, all that is borrowed. Every rejection, every disappointment, every loss, they are not punishments, but chisels removing what you are not. Beneath it all, your essence waits, calm, compassionate, and whole. Close your eyes and visualize this. Imagine layers of expectations falling away, the roles you play, the labels you carry, the masks you wear to be loved. One by one, they dissolve. What remains is soft, luminous, untouched, the original light of your being. This is who you were before the world told you who to be. The Buddha called this state suchness, the natural simplicity of just being what you are. When you remember this, the need to please others fades, for you finally see that nothing needs to be added or performed for you to be enough. The journey home is not about becoming something greater. It is about unlearning everything that told you otherwise. True healing begins when you stop searching for yourself in others' reflections and start seeing yourself in silence, in breath, in presence. The mind may resist this truth, clinging to its identities, but the soul smiles because it remembers. Ask yourself gently, which part of me feels most real when I am alone? What have I been taught to hide that is actually sacred? Can I remember myself without the world's mirror? You are not lost, only covered. The world taught you to please, to perform, to prove. But life, in its gentle wisdom, keeps whispering, "Come home." When you let the noise fall silent, when you stop striving to be someone, you return to the one you've always been, vast, peaceful, and free. Staying strong when you feel lost. What if feeling lost is not the end, but the beginning of awakening? There comes a time in every soul's journey when the path ahead disappears and all that once made sense begins to crumble. You look around and see no direction, no certainty, only fog. Yet the Buddha once said, "You are never lost, you are being rearranged for truth." What if this disorientation is not your downfall, but your transformation? What if being lost is how the universe prepares you to be found, not by the world, but by yourself? Like a seed buried beneath the soil, you may feel the weight of darkness pressing upon you. It is cold, silent, and lonely. But the seed does not curse the soil for covering it. It trusts that the darkness is not death, but preparation. What looks like burial is, in truth, the beginning of growth. The same is true for you. The confusion, the stillness, the uncertainty, they are the fertile ground where strength and clarity begin to sprout. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Visualize yourself as that seed beneath the earth. Above you, chaos swirls. Below you, quiet power awakens. Though unseen, life is rearranging you. Every moment of stillness, every unanswered question is shaping roots you cannot yet see. You are not meant to bloom all at once. You are meant to root deeply, to build a foundation that no storm can shake. The Buddha taught that clinging to the known creates suffering. When life takes away what you once relied upon, it is not cruelty, it is compassion. The universe removes what limits your awakening. So instead of fighting to return to what was, breathe and allow yourself to expand into what is coming. Trust the wisdom of this lostness. Trust that in not knowing, you are learning to listen. Ask yourself, what is this lost phase trying to teach me? Can I trust the unknown instead of fearing it? How might this confusion be shaping my wisdom? Every lost moment carries the seed of clarity. Every dark night hides the dawn. You are not lost, you are unfolding. You are being rearranged for truth. And one day, when the soil parts and the light returns, you will look back and realize, this was never the end of your path. It was the beginning of your becoming. The freedom in letting go of control. Why do we fear losing control when control was never real to begin with? The mind clings to the illusion that if we hold tightly enough, nothing will fall apart. Yet the Buddha reminds us, to hold everything tightly is to lose your hands for peace. We grasp at people, outcomes, and expectations as if our grip could stop the river of life from flowing its course. But the river has never needed our command, only our surrender. Think of trying to hold water in your fists. The tighter you squeeze, the more it escapes through your fingers. The same happens with life. The harder you try to manage, fix, and control, the more exhausted you become, and the less you truly hold. There is a quiet wisdom in loosening your hands and allowing things to be as they are. In that release, you do not lose. You return to balance. You stop wrestling with what you cannot own and finally find space for peace to enter. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you are sitting beside a stream, holding sand in your palms. Feel its texture, its shifting weight. Now, slowly open your hands. Watch the grains flow freely, glistening in the light. Notice the relief in your palms. They are lighter, free to breathe again. This is the nature of letting go. When you release, you do not become empty, you become open. The heart, once burdened with resistance, begins to expand. The Buddha's path teaches non-attachment, not indifference, but freedom from the illusion of control. Life moves according to causes and conditions, not personal will. What arises will pass. What falls will rise again. Your role is not to command, but to cooperate, to flow with awareness, not fight with resistance. In this flow, peace is no longer something you chase. It becomes the rhythm of your being. Ask yourself gently, what am I still gripping that no longer serves me? How does letting go make room for strength? What would peace look like if I stopped trying to manage everything? When you loosen your grip on how life should be, you begin to hold life as it is, raw, unpredictable, yet perfectly unfolding. Letting go is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is trusting that you are carried even when you cannot control the current. And in that trust, you discover a freedom far greater than certainty, the quiet, grounded freedom of simply being. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I finally found myself." Bonus lesson: the silent revolution, becoming whole again. What happens when you finally stop chasing, proving, and performing? There comes a moment when the noise fades, when the endless effort to please and to be seen dissolves into quiet awareness. You realize you were never meant to be someone else's reflection, you were meant to be whole. The Buddha said, "In the end, you don't become someone new. You return to the peace you never lost." This is not the creation of peace, but the remembrance of it. Beneath all striving, peace has always been waiting for you to stop running long enough to notice it. Imagine your mind as a still lake at dawn. In the beginning, the surface is restless, rippled by the winds of opinion, stirred by the storms of approval and rejection. The reflection blurs, and you forget what your own face looks like. But as you stop fighting, the waters begin to calm. Slowly, the reflection returns. You see yourself clearly, not the version shaped by fear or expectation, but the one untouched by all of it. The lake never runs after its reflection. When it's still, the reflection returns on its own. So too does your peace. There is a silent revolution that happens when you stop needing to prove your worth. It's quiet, invisible to the world, yet it changes everything within. You begin to breathe more deeply. Your words become fewer, but truer. Your choices no longer arise from fear, but from alignment. The world may not applaud this transformation, but your heart will finally rest. Wholeness is not the reward for perfection. It's the natural state that appears when you release the need to perform. Ask yourself, how has my peace changed since I stopped pleasing others? What does wholeness feel like within me now? Can I live my life as calmly as this still water? Each time you honor truth over approval, silence over reaction, peace over performance, the lake within grows clearer. You no longer need to chase reflections. Life begins to mirror your stillness back to you. In the end, awakening is not dramatic. It is not fireworks or thunder. It is the quiet return to yourself, the gentle remembrance that you were never broken, never behind, never less than whole. Just as the lake does not seek its reflection, you do not have to seek yourself. Simply be still, and you will find that you were always here. Quick summary of the principles. Stop chasing approval. It's a mirage. When your peace depends on praise or validation, you lose your center. The need for approval is endless. No amount of it can fill the emptiness that comes from self-abandonment. True freedom begins when you stop seeking permission to be yourself. The disease of pleasing and its cure. Pleasing everyone is not kindness. It's self-neglect disguised as virtue. Each time you silence your truth to comfort others, you weaken your inner voice. Healing begins when you honor yourself with the same compassion you offer others. The weight of opinions, let them fall. Living by others' opinions is like wearing invisible chains. The more you care about how others see you, the less clearly you see yourself. Letting go of those judgments restores your calm and authenticity. The strength of stillness. Real strength is not in fighting back, but in staying grounded when life shakes you. Stillness allows clarity to emerge naturally. The calmer you are inside, the less the world can control your peace. The peace hidden in disapproval. Disapproval isn't the enemy. It's the mirror that points you back to your truth. When people reject or misunderstand you, life is guiding you inward. Peace arises when you no longer need everyone's agreement to feel worthy. When you stop explaining, you start healing. Not every truth needs to be justified. Silence becomes healing when you stop defending your path to those who can't understand it. Peace grows when you release the urge to prove your intentions. The power of being misunderstood. Being misunderstood is part of walking your unique path. Those who can't see your truth simply aren't meant to understand your light yet. Strength lies in walking forward, even when others doubt your direction. The turning point. Choosing peace. Overperformance. When you stop performing to please others, you begin to live authentically. Peace replaces exhaustion, and your natural energy returns. Life flows more effortlessly when you stop forcing yourself to fit every role. Remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. The real you was never lost, just buried beneath expectations and fear. Finding yourself means peeling away those layers until your true essence shines through again. Your authentic self is peace, not performance. Staying strong when you feel lost. Feeling lost doesn't mean you're failing. It means your old self is dissolving. Confusion is part of transformation. If you stay patient and trust the process, clarity will rise from within. The freedom in letting go of control. Control is an illusion that drains your energy. When you release the need to manage every outcome, peace naturally replaces anxiety. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting life to unfold as it should. The silent revolution, becoming whole again. Wholeness is not about adding more. It's about returning to your original calm. When you stop chasing what you already are, your inner light returns. In silence, you realize you were never broken, only disconnected from yourself. There comes a sacred turning point in life when you realize that peace was never lost, only buried beneath your need to be accepted. You begin to see that strength isn't in pleasing others, but in standing quietly in your truth. In that moment of stillness, when you no longer chase approval, something inside you awakens, a quiet power that cannot be taken, misunderstood, or destroyed. That is the birth of freedom. The Zen masters taught, the one who seeks nothing lacks nothing. When you stop performing for the world and start living from presence, you discover a peace so deep that no noise can disturb it. So pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what if I stopped trying to be enough for others and simply allowed myself to be? If this message touched your heart, like and share this video and share your reflections in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more timeless Buddhist insights on living with peace, strength, and inner calm.